Bendel Insurance prepare for Niger tornado clash. Singer Tiwa Savage speaks on support for female artists. Group advises Lagos coroner on fairness over Mohbad's autopsy.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
you human trafficker.
Honorable
And now the rest of our stories. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory and former Rivers State Governor, Nyesom Wike, has criticized some leaders of the Rivers State chapter of People's Democratic Party for declaring support for the state governor, Siminalayi Fubara. The statement during the chat in Abuja said PDP leaders in Rivers State, including Abiye Sekibo, ex-PDP National Chairman, Uche Secondus, ex-governorship aspirant, Celestine Umeha, and ex-lawmaker Austin Opara had last week declared support for Fubara and called on the president to caution Wike. Reacting to their declarations, Wike said Sekibo, Secondus, Umeha and Opara are all expired politicians who are not worthy to be called elder statesmen, and insisted that Secondus was no longer a member of the PDP as his suspension was validated by the court. Analysts have described Governor Fubara as ungrateful to the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, following the lingering political feud making rounds in the state, which had attracted the recent impeachment move by the Rivers State House of Assembly, as led by the Speaker of the House, Martins Amehule. Speaking on Atlantic Television Open Conversation, a political analyst, Emi Fegaha, said it is disloyalty and sabotage for Governor Fubara to disregard the sole political structure that supported his candidacy as Rivers State Governor.
And they are asking President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to be wary of Nyesom Wike. What is Nyesom Wike has to do in this matter? I think the first person to be wary of is Governor Fubara.
What are your reasons?
I will tell you. Very, very obvious. I remember former Governor Nyesom Wike stake out his neck in order to enthrone Governor Siminalayi Fubara. And he made so many enemies, all because of the candidacy of Fubara. But today, the same Fubara is the same man now who is now demonizing, claiming that he is in charge.
Emi Fega also identified the constitutional provision upheld by the 27 lawmakers of Rivers House of Assembly, led by Martins Amehule, was in line legally.
Late action that are prohibited and action that are acceptable. The manner you must carry your action are all stipulated in the law. And October 29, that was when the assembly was born. October 30, 2023, the assembly now sat of 27 members, meaning they formed quorum. They had a two-thirds majority resolution of the House. Number one, to remove Edison here as a leader. Two, they suspended him that day. Then it was later day of the day that Edison here now proclaimed himself as a speaker. Meanwhile, Section 92 says all members shall participate in electing the speaker.
This is coming after the Rivers State House of Assembly said it will not hesitate to impeach the state governor, Siminalayi Fubara. Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara said he will improve healthcare infrastructure and services in the state in order to make it the first choice medical tourism destination in Nigeria and Africa by extension. The governor said to achieve this, his government would pay serious attention to improving medical facilities and make services available to the people, particularly at the primary level, to bridge observed gaps between the primary, secondary, and tertiary healthcare services in the state. He said the ongoing reconstruction, rehabilitation, and upgrade of all primary healthcare facilities across the state is with a view to integrate them with existing secondary and tertiary institutions, adding that it was equally intended to deliver immediate but quality healthcare services to the majority of the people. Governor Fubara, who disclosed in Government House, Port Harcourt, on the modest achievements of his administration in the health sector since assumption of office, said, besides the construction, renovation, and upgrade of primary healthcare centers across the state, the capacity of the Rivers State University Teaching Hospital has been improved with the training of personnel, as well as the establishment of critical units equipped with modern equipment to delivering sterling expertise services to patients. 9 students kidnapped along the East-West Road in Ughelli, Delta State, have been released. They were freed barely 24 hours after abduction, while the State Police Public Relations Officer Ed Daffy Bright wrote in his X handle said 9 of the victims have regained their freedom, please. Eyewitness said the students were abducted traveling in a minibus before the incident. Members of the Traditional Council of Chiefs, Ewu Urobo, in Delta State are calling for the immediate release of the detained monarch of Ewu Kingdom, Clement Ikolo. That said, the monarch was not connected to the communal crisis that led to the recent killing of 70 military personnel in the Okoma community in Ughelli local government area of the state. Adding that Ikolo is one of the 8 persons declared wanted by the defense headquarters in connection to the killing. The council expressed shock about the arrest while stating that the monarch had been working to resolve the crisis that led to the tragedies since his ascension. While condoling with the military and the families of the slain officers, they prayed that the perpetrators will be brought to book. Analysts have condemned the recurring incidents of jungle justice and other office-related injustice, mostly carried out by unethical and unprofessional security personnel across the country. Speaking on Atlantic Television Society Watch, a public affairs analyst, Goodluck Edafe, said a lot from both the police force, paramilitary and military personnel do not adhere to the operational ethics and conduct of the profession.
Form in Nigeria, the Nigerian man or uniform is not responsible to some extent. What do I mean? Nigerians abuse uniform. The police abuse uniform. The soldiers abuse uniform. The, what do you call the other one? This civil defense, they abuse uniform. Even the road safety, they all abuse uniform. Anybody who puts on that uniform, they do not understand the essence of that uniform that was given to them. Where you are a security officer, what do you secure is life and property. To what extent do they have that consciousness that this responsibility give it to me?
Edafe also condemned the incident by the security guard and called on the police and other security agencies to reinforce its strategy in fishing out culprits of jungle justice for further deterrence.
But we must say that even within the police force, jungle justice is there. Police will catch some people, will arrest some people. The law, our law, the laws of our country says that a man is deemed innocent until proven in the law of court to be guilty. When you arrest somebody for a crime, it's not your duty to prosecute the person, but what does the police do? They slap you, kick you, do all sorts of things. Even in their station, it's an abuse of uniform. It's an abuse of responsibility, privilege.
This is coming after a security guard identified as Agumbiade Adekule had recently been arrested by the police operative of Lagos State Police Command for his alleged involvement in jungle justice. The first public relations officer, Olumuyiwa Adejobi, disclosed this in a statement via his X handle. Heavy rainfall in Ajawa, headquarters of Ogun Oluwa local government area of Oyo State have been rendered homeless. One of the affected persons described the two separate rainfalls as unfortunate, stressing that 2 persons were injured and rushed to a hospital. The traditional ruler of the town, Alajawa of Ajawa, Oba Thompson Adeyeye, who confirmed the development, expressed grief over the disaster as he urged governments, political office holders and philanthropists to assist the community. However, the lawmaker representing Ogu Oluwa, Surulere Federal Consistency, Honorable Sunday Makanjola, has sent his domestic aid to commiserate with the people of the town over the disaster and assess the extent of damage. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration has promised delivered 6 projects by the end of May 2024 in Abuja, which includes 5 Abuja city roads and the new Vice President presidential building. The Honorable Minister of FCT, Nyesom Wike, who disclosed said in Abuja after a visit to various construction sites, and there are more projects to be delivered by May 2024, while assuring Abuja residents of government's commitment to deliver dividends of democracy.
We have been to 6 sites today. We went to the Southern Park, which is being done by Setraco, and the contractors reaffirmed that that project will be handed over to us first week of May or thereabout. Then we went to the VP's residence, which is being handled by Julius Berger, and you can see that they have said they have done not less than 90%. By next week, they are doing the planting of grasses and the rest of it. So that also, by the grace of God, will be handed over to us by May. Then we went to B6, B12, which is also handled by Julius Berger. And you can see that they are quite confident and the way they are working, that they are going to also hand over that project this May. We now drove to Uye, district where the engineering infrastructure is being carried out by Arab contractors. Of course, you can as well say they are 95% ready and made their commitment that will be handed over. Then we now move to N20, which is being done by Gilmore. I can see the level of work, and I believe by the second week of May, God willing, they will also hand over that. Then we are here now on 6, which is being done by CGC. We've seen the level of work, and they have appealed to residents, particularly at the interchange 1, that they have to divert traffic, and the public should bear the inconveniences. It's just a temporary inconveniences for the good of everybody.
He also said President Tinubu's promises to transform Abuja will be fulfilled and will also bring hope and happiness to the people.
For us, these 6 projects are not the only projects we're expecting to be handed over to us in May. We believe that after the public order of Monday, we're meeting with all the contractors on Tuesday to know how ready, and then on Wednesday, we're also going to see some sites at Buzape and other areas to see the level of preparedness. So for us, we're happy with what we're seeing, and we thank God that, like I've said before, the Renewed Hope agenda is working. Nigerians can see that the president has done well. The promises he has made to transform Abuja is coming out successfully, and there's no need to doubt. And this is why, you see, part of the problems we have in our country is when you make promise, you don't fulfill the promise or promises. That makes the electorate to lose confidence. But when you make promises and they see that the promises you have made or the promise you have made, you are fulfilling them, it gives them hope, it gives them happiness. And wherever we go, all the sites, you can see the jubilation, the happiness in the faces of our people.
Minister of the Federal Capital Territory Administration, Nyesom Wike, has distributed 5,000 bags of rice and other varieties of food items to FCT Islamic faithful and vulnerable Muslim groups living in Abuja to support their welfare for the ongoing Ramadan fasting. The head of the service of the Federal Capital Territory Civil Service Commission, Mr. Udo Emmanuel Atang, who represented the FCT Minister Yeso Wike, said the distribution of food items was to support the welfare of Muslims in FCT, thereby ensuring peace and unity.
The Minister, as you all know, is one person that is very sensitive to issues of welfare, both to the staff and to the residents of the territory. We want to congratulate our brothers who are in the course of their religious obligations. We want to thank them and to pray that all their supplications and prayers will be answered by the God Almighty. And in doing that, the Honorable Minister has deliberately mandated that some items, like the Director of Protocol has said, should be shared to the residents of the territory to cushion the fasting. We want to, on behalf of the Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Excellency Barrister Yesom Wike, CON, to present this little token to our brothers and to urge you to pray for the peace and the progress of Nigeria.
The recipients of the food items, in appreciation, applauded the Honorable Minister to have remembered them in time of hardship and Ramadan.
To FCT Minister, Mr. Wike, Barrister Wike, for sparing his time and opportunity in this holy month of Ramadan to register a kind of things that will make us happy as Muslims, to reduce the hardship that is bedeviling us in this month of Ramadan by supplying these food items that will help us to reach and do our Ramadan in a good condition of health, economically accepted. So we are happy, and this is one of its kind, and I think this is the first of its kind. In fact, I have never witnessed this kind of things from the government of the FCT to offer such commodities, and in this particular month of the Rahmah. So obviously he has done much, and he deserves
Let me start. I want to thank all of us here present.
Concerned to him, inshallah ta'ala, and wish him good progress in all endeavors and in all ramifications.
Allah says his blessings are on those who has used what he has bestowed upon them for the benefit of mankind. So in essence, the message is, in whatever position you are, for the best of life is to be able to affect the life of somebody positively. And this administration has proven to us, more especially we, the people with disabilities in this country. We have seen how they have demonstrated their love to us. They begin to appoint most of us to represent us in their cabinet. For that, I think it's something that is worthy of emulation.
Chief Judge of Niger State, Halima Abdul Malik, has released one inmate and granted 4 bail from the Medium Security Custodial Center, Suleja. A statement signed by the spokesperson, Nigerian Correctional Service, Federal Capital Territory Command, Adamu Duza, said she would ensure that judges and courts embrace the non-custodian service measures in the state as well as ensure speedy access to justice. According to the statement, Justice Abdul Malik, who was accompanied by senior magistrates and other principal officials of the Ministry of Justice, reviewed a total number of 60 cases ranging from murder, kidnap, and armed robbery, among others. Institute a commission of inquiry to uncover the actual amount of substantial debts inherited from his predecessor, Malam Nasir El-Rufai. The chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Committee, Kaduna State, Ahmed Tanjani Mustafa, who disclosed this in Kaduna, explained that as the custodians of democratic ideals, norms and good governance, as well as beacons of democracy, urging that IPAC would continue to play a vital role in shaping Kaduna State's political landscape and promoting the collective interest of the people, government, and its diverse political parties. He said he will continue to promote enabling good governance and accountability in governance, and observed that it was disturbing and disheartening to hear Governor Obasani disclose how his administration inherited a huge debt burden of $587 million, 85 billion naira, and 155 contractual liabilities from the previous administration, making it difficult for the government to even pay workers' salary. He decried the selfish and fraudulent arrangement not only denied the state the means of development and growth, but made the state financially embarrassed, including using the state's IGR as collateral for some indigenous banks. Kebbi State government has inaugurated a 13-member panel charged with probing the incidents of theft and devising strategies to prevent their reoccurrence. Chaired by the Commissioner for Agriculture and Natural Resources, Alhaji Shehu Mauzu, the committee has been given a 5-day mandate to conduct a thorough investigation into the looting which saw food stores being unlawfully taken by hoodlums from the government warehouse in Benin Kebbi. The decision to set up the committee was made during the State Executive Council meeting chaired by the Deputy Governor Alhaji Umar Abubakar Tafida in Benin State. Chaired by the Commissioner for Agriculture and Natural Resources, Alhaji Shehu Mauza, the committee has been given a 5-day mandate to conduct a thorough investigation into the looting which saw foodstuffs being unlawfully taken by hoodlums from the government warehouse in Benin Kebbi. The decision to set up the committee was made during the State Executive Council meeting chaired by the Deputy Governor Alhaji Umar Abubakar Tafidan in Benin Kebbi, and the council also approved a substantial subsidy of 3.34 billion naira to alleviate the financial burdens on 3,344 Muslims embarking on the Hajj pilgrimage to Saudi Arabia. Suspected bandits have attacked a mosque in Gusau, capital of Zamfara State, and kidnapped scores of worshippers. Eyewitness said the attack was carried out when Muslim faithful were observing the famous congregational prayer, Tahajjud. Tahajjud is a special prayer being observed by Muslims every last 10 days of the holy month of Ramadan. Troops of the Nigerian army has foiled an attempt by terrorists to kidnap some Christians returning from a church program in Taraba State. Acting on intelligence, the troops hid themselves and waited for the terrorists to target their victims before moving in, and resulted in a first-gun battle between the troops and the terrorists. According to a post on X by the Nigerian army, the troops overpowered the terrorists and killed no fewer than 4, and sophisticated weapons were also recovered from the terrorists. Borno State Police Command said it has arrested 8 persons in connection with the suspected murder of a University of Maiduguri lecturer, Kama Abdul Kari. The command's public relations officer, Nahum Kenneth, who disclosed this, said the Don was killed on Sunday when the assailants invaded his office, stabbed him with a knife and hit him with a hammer, and the victim was later found dead with several injuries inflicted on his body. The state PPRO, Kenneth, disclosed that upon receiving the report of the incident, a police team was deployed to the scene where the body of the lecturer was found dead in his office, while the police immediately launched an investigation into the matter and arrested 8 suspects in connection with the matter. He said the vehicle of the late lecturer was also not found at the scene of the incident, and it was suspected to have been whisked away by the assailants. The statement also said the police would bring the perpetrators of the act to justice and urged residents of the state and university community to go about their daily activities without panic. Angry youths have set the house of a farmer ablaze within the Angwa Rikuba Eto Baba community in the Jos area of Plateau State. The angry youth also went to his poultry farm within the locality and looted his birds before setting the farm ablaze as well. A resident of the community, Mrs. Janet Haruna, who confirmed the incident, said the actions of the youths followed an alleged killing of a security man working for the farmer. When contacted, the spokesperson for the State Police Command, Alabo Alfred, said the divisional police officer in charge of the area was already working to address the situation. Group under the aegis of Independent Hajj reporters is urging the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria and the State Muslim Pilgrims Welfare Boards and agencies to make public the amount to be paid to all intending pilgrims as basic travel allowances for this year's Hajj. The group said it has become necessary following the Hajj fairs by both the NAHCON and states that did not indicate the amounts that will be given to intending pilgrims as BTA, contrary to usual practices over the years. A statement signed by its national coordinator Ibrahim Mohammed said BTA is an allowance of foreign currency that a Nigerian citizen and the pilgrims to Saudi Arabia is allowed to draw from a Nigerian bank when traveling abroad, adding that it's part of the country's foreign exchange controls and such money is included in the Hajj-free components. Minister of Education Professor Tahir Maman says security agencies will go after individuals with fake degree certificates in the country. He said the individuals will be tracked after the committee inaugurated to investigate the activities of degree mills in the country submit his report, adding that the Federal Ministry of Education had earlier set up an investigative panel to probe activities of the degree mills. The report, which exposed the illegalities perpetrated by some tertiary institutions in the West African countries, forced the Nigerian government to ban the accreditation and evaluation of degrees from Benin Republic and Togo. The committee was also tasked with investigating private universities in the country that were established in the last 15 years. Recently, the committee invited memorandum from the public and selected members of the committee also visited institutions in the Benin Republic. Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board says it uncovered at least 1,665 fake A-level results during the 2023 Direct Entry Administration registration exercise. The board also said A-level result verification regime was characterized by corruption associated with the system. The registrar, Professor Ishaq Oloyede, disclosed this when he received the leadership of the National Association of Nigerian Colleges of Education students in Abuja, stressing that in the past, when a candidate applied to direct entry, the board would simply ask a awarding institution to do the necessary screening and due diligence. He stated that JAMB was shocked by the revelation from Bayero University, Kano, where out of the 148 direct entry applications to the institution, only 6 of the certificates forwarded for processing were genuine, adding that it was the discovery of the fraud that prompted the meeting of critical stakeholders who met to chart ways of combating the menace. Oloyede also said, to underscore the importance attached to the exercise, the board has put in place a no verification, no admission policy, adding that the modification to the ongoing DE registration is that candidates could go ahead and register while the school verifies them on the back end. Private Telecommunications and Communications Senior Staff Association of Nigeria has declared an indefinite strike effective midnight on Thursday, April 4th, 2024. The union said the decision was deemed necessary due to the relentless anti-labor practices against field engineers perpetrated by subcontractors. The Telecoms Union disclosed this in a statement. The union said the grievances against these subcontractors include the appalling work condition resembling modern-day slavery, a lack of entitlement commensurate with workers' efforts, and the absence of adequate security measures, especially during late-night field assignments. The union's demands include immediate recognition of employees' fundamental rights to association, acknowledgement of the union as a negotiating body for workers' welfare, and proper remittance of membership dues, and called for the regularization of employment for union members involved in Hawaii projects compliance with pension and health insurance regulations, and initiating negotiations for a collective bargaining agreement. The union also said, despite effort by Ministry of Labor and Employment to address the concerns through conciliatory meetings, the companies have failed to engage constructively, leaving no option but to resort to industrial action. First Lady Oluremi Tinubu is calling for early diagnosis and intervention for individuals with autism. She disclosed in a statement to mark the World Autism Awareness Day, adding that she recognized the challenges faced by families with autistic as well as loved ones and celebrated them for their love and dedication. Mrs. Tinubu also called for a world where everyone, regardless of their challenges, and celebrated their unique gifts, and called for all-inclusive development to promote good health and well-being for persons with autism. Christian Association of Nigeria has demanded a public apology from the Federal Inland Revenue Service over an Easter advert which the Christian body found offensive. The FIRS, in an ex-formerly Twitter post had shared a picture of a point-of-sale machine with the caption, "Jesus paid your debts, not your taxes." The post has elicited reaction from Nigerians, particularly Christians, who condemned the post. CAN's National Director of National Issues and Social Welfare, Abimbola Ayuba, in a statement called on President Bola Tinubu, the Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, and the Department of State Services to take cognizance of the incident and guide the FIRS in adhering to only messages that promote unity and peace. CAN said, as a nation that prides itself on religious harmony and peaceful coexistence, the group is deeply concerned by the reoccurrence of provocative messages around religious holidays, which should be the version of exemplary conduct and is widely regarded as offensive and derogatory in the Christian faith. You are watching the Global News in Atlantic Television Network. We will be back after this. Welcome back. This is the Global News and Atlantic Television Network. Now to the rest of our stories. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, says religion cannot divide the upper legislative chamber and Nigeria despite senators belonging to different faiths. Akpabio, who disclosed this while hosting his Muslim colleagues and attended by a few others who are Christians in Abuja, said, "Everyone serves only one God, and it shows that even though Muslims and Christians have different religions, they both have only one God, the Supreme God." The Senate President reminded his colleagues that God sent them to the world for a purpose, and that purpose is to live in peace with one another, love one another and pray together, as well as work for one another to ensure progress for humanity. Responding on behalf of the other senators, the Deputy Senate President, Jibrin Barau, thanked Akpabio for inviting them to have a demonstration of the care that he has for all lawmakers in the country. House of Representatives has condemned the action of denying individuals with disabilities access to public spaces, saying it is not only disrespectful but also undermines ongoing efforts to implement the Disability Act. The Condemnation by the House is coming after recent distress reports regarding the denial of access to Mr. Adebola Daniel at a KFC outlet in Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos. The House, through its Committee on Disabilities, Honorable Dr. Bashiru Dawudu, said the discriminatory incident highlighted by Mr. Daniel's public account sheds light on the challenges faced by individuals with disabilities in Nigeria. Chairman of the committee in Abuja said the treatment is unacceptable and goes against the principles of inclusivity and respect, and it is a violation against the Disability Act. Dawood also said the Discrimination Against People with Disabilities Prohibition Act 2018, passed by the National Assembly, aims to safeguard the rights of persons with disabilities, adding that compliance with the act has been lacking since the grace period ended in January, and urged all stakeholders, including businesses, to adhere to the provision of the Disability Act.
This discriminatory incident, highlighted by Mr. Daniel's public account, sheds light on the challenges faced by individuals with disabilities in Nigeria. Mr. Daniel, a person with disability who is physically challenged, who is mobile only with the use of wheelchair, faced humiliation when he was refused entry into the KFC outlet, with the manager stating no wheelchairs allowed. This treatment is unacceptable and goes against the principles of inclusivity and respect. Denying individuals with disabilities access to public spaces is not only disrespectful, but also undermines our ongoing efforts to implement the Disability Act. And the committee is duty-bound, once again, duty-bound to investigate this issue and other related matters. The case of Mr. Adebola Daniel is one in millions of other unreported cases of such abuses and injustices against the persons with disabilities. And by the way, this will no longer be tolerated by governments on all levels. Any establishments within the shore of our country, irrespective of owner's status, should take note. We've had enough. Enough is enough.
Honorable Dr. Bashiru Dawudu, Chairman, Committee on Disabilities, has pledged the commitment of the House to engaging with communities to kickstart the full implementation of the Disability Act with key provisions such as access to public buildings, employment quotas, and welfare promotion for persons with disabilities, which according to him must be enforced to ensure their rights are upheld, and urged the Ministry of Information to play a crucial role in raising awareness about persons with disabilities to foster their inclusion in public discourse. Presidential candidate of the Labour Party in 2023 general election, Peter Obi, says he is not particularly happy with the nation's rising debt profile, saying that 97.3 trillion naira is on the high side and worrisome. Former Anambra State Governor said most of the debts are not deployed for production and described as dangerous to growth. The use of nearly 10 trillion naira to service unproductive debts. Obi wrote in his X handle saying, "I remain concerned about our borrowings considering their galloping situation over the years and its concomitant effect on the economy, and there has been no corresponding visible usage of investment as required by the law to show the impact on the nation." He also sent an appeal to the government to please deaccelerate the borrowing and reevaluate to see what has been achieved with the previous loans so far and be able to make better decisions for the good of the nation. Oil output by the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, there is reduction in crude oil export by Nigeria and Iraq in March, and the development has caused a drop in exports. A survey said OPEC pumped less crude oil in March, reflecting lower exports from Iraq and Nigeria against a backdrop of ongoing voluntary supply cuts by some members agreed with the wider OPEC Plus alliance, while industry data also showed that the cost of Brent, the global benchmark of crude, increased to $87.92 per barrel around 6 p.m. Nigerian time. OPEC pumped 26.42 million barrels per day last month, down by 50,000 BQD from February, and based on shipping data and information from industry, several members of OPEC, which includes OPEC, Russia, and other allies, made new cuts in January to counter economic weakness and increase supply outside the group. Producers agreed last month to keep them in place until the end of June, and an OPEC Plus panel of key ministers are to meet on Wednesday to review the markets and members' production, and is not expected to recommend any policy changes ahead of the group's next full meeting, set for June 1st. Center for Promotion of Private Enterprises has expressed support for the decision of the Central Bank of Nigeria to increase the capital base of banks, even as it calls for the rights management of the process to avoid economic disruptions. A statement signed by the Chief Executive Officer of CPPE, Dr. Muda Yusuf, said merchants and non-interest banks and promoters of proposed banks announced the review of the capital requirements for the operations of the affected categories of banks in the country, while the Apex Bank, in a statement signed by its acting director of corporate communication, Sidi Ali, said it had become necessary to raise the capital base of the banks. Reacting to the development, Yusuf said that inflation in the country had eroded the capital base of banks over the years, and there was need to recapitalize, adding that non-interest banks with national and regional authorization will need to increase their capitals to 20 billion naira and 10 billion naira respectively. Reacting to the development, Yusuf said that inflation in the country had eroded the capital base of banks over the years, hence the need to recapitalize. The CPPE boss also said the Apex banks must assure the positions of the safety of their funds in the banking systems, irrespective of the current level of capitalization of banks. Power Minister Adebayo Adelabu has assured that the government of President Bola Tinubu is ready and determined to change the face of things in the power sector and to change the game in the power sector. Adelabu disclosed this following a gathering with various All Progressive Congress members at the Oyo State Party headquarters in Oke-Ado, said his administration will address the root cause of the power sector problems. He also said government is addressing all the problems associated with all the segments of power sector value chain, from gas supply to generation, to transmission to distribution, and to the customers themselves. Federal government has announced an increase in the wholesale price of gas to power plants by 11%. This means an increment to $2.42 per million British terminal units from $2.18 per MMBTU amid the persistent electricity supply in Nigeria. Chief Executive of Nigeria Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, Engineer Farouk Ahmed, said the government raised the commercial wholesale gas price while key stakeholders and take into cognizance the provision of the PIA as well as the gazetted gas pricing and domestic demand regulations. This is coming after the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, faulted the gas pricing in dollars in December last year, adding that since January of this year, gas companies have reduced their supply to power plants following years of unpaid invoices amounting to over $1.2 billion, while the government intervened in March by paying $120 million to the companies as the power supply dwindled. You're still watching the news on Atlantic Television Network. Up next, international tidbits. Left winger Bassirou Diomaye Faye has been sworn in as Senegal's youngest president after sweeping to a first-round victory on the pledge of radical reform 10 days after he was released from prison. During the swearing-in, he said, "Before God and Senegalese nation, I swear to faithfully fulfill the office of President of the Republic of Senegal." The 44-year-old disclosed this before hundreds of officials and several African heads of state at an exhibition center in the new town of Diamniadio near the capital, Dakar. Vanta's school shooting has killed a child at a school in Finland. Police said a child died and 2 others have been seriously wounded in a shooting at a school in Finland. Parents said the shooting had taken place in a classroom at Vietola School in the city to the north of capital Helsinki, while the police said they responded to the incident and urged local residents to remain indoors. British police says it has arrested an 80-year-old man at an airport after 27 years on the run. The Cashier police said Richard Burrows, who is accused of historic sexual abuse of children, was arrested at Heathrow after returning to the UK from Thailand. The force said he has been wanted since December 1997 when he failed to attend Chester Crown Court to face trial for 2 counts of burglary and 11 counts of indecent assault, as well as charges related to alleged abuse between 1966 and 1971. Efforts to locate Burrows since his disappearance have included a Crime Watch appeal in 1998, while the National Crime Agency International Liaison Officer in Thailand, Duncan Burrage, said utilizing the international network and working closely with Cashier police colleagues was to track down a fugitive wanted in connection to extremely serious allegations. The police spokesman also said Burrows has been remanded in custody and is expected to appear in Chester Crown Court. Former U.S. President Donald Trump has posted a $175 million bond in his New York civil fraud case, staffing up asset seizures by the state. Mr. Trump was originally ordered to pay the full $464 million judgment against him, but an appeal court said he could pay the smaller sum within 10 days. He was found in February to have fraudulently inflated property values, while Republican denies wrongdoing and says the case is a political witch hunt by the Democratic prosecutor, and lawyers had argued before the appellate court that securing a bond for that amount would be a practical impossibility. A statement by the lawyer Alina Habas said, as promised, President Trump has posted bond and looks forward to vindicating his rights on appeal and overturning his unjust verdict. 8 persons suspected to be migrants have died in a road accident in southeastern Albania. The police, after confirming the incident, said a vehicle carrying the groups fell from a road high above the Vojta River after the driver lost control. Albania is one of the so-called Balkan routes for migrants seeking to reach Western Europe. Here now is ATN Sports News. Bendel Insurance says it's preparing for the Nigerian Premier Football League match day 29th encounters against Niger Tornadoes. This is coming after the Benin Arsenals over the weekend won the Edo State Federation Cup after defeating Matrix FC in the final. And Monday, Odige's side is aware of the task ahead. Bendel Insurance will host Niger Tornadoes at the Samuel Ogumudia Stadium and is 9th on NPFL table with 37 points from 28 games. Former Chelsea star Chris Sutton has offended Manchester City striker Erling Haaland after his poor performance against Arsenal led to a scathing attack from Manchester United legend Roy Keane. Kenny compared Haaland's general play to that of a League Two player, but Sutton argued that City's lack of chances was not the Norwegians' fault and took aim at Kelvin De Bruyne, Phil Foden and Bernardo Silva, insisted. Man City are currently 3rd in the standings, 3 points behind leaders Liverpool, and Sutton warned that they cannot afford to let gap get any bigger. Former Manchester United forward Garth Crooks has advised Chelsea's Cole Palmer over his penalty style. He warned Palmer that he could land in trouble for disrespecting his opponent with his Peneka penalty style. He also said players know how to handle such audacious finishes, and the way Palmer dispatches his penalty showed he has supreme confidence in his own ability, Crooks said. Bama scored a brace including a cheeky peneka against Burnley in their recent Premier League match at the weekend, while Chelsea drew 2-2 with the Clarets despite Parma's excellent performance after conceding twice to a 10-man side. Arsenal and Tottenham had been countered bids of around £100 million to sign Alexander Isak from Newcastle United this summer. Mapkick boss Eddie Howe is adamant that Isak is not for sale and clubs will be hoping to take advantage of the financial situation. Newcastle Chief Executive Darren Ailes said the club may have to sell some players to comply with profit and sustainability rules and is mainly deployed as a centre forward but can also be used as a winger in a contract with Newcastle until 2028. He arrived at St. James Park from Real Sociedad in a £60 million deal 2 years ago. And now, entertainment news. Singer Tiwa Savage has finally addressed the rumors that she doesn't support her female colleagues. Addressing the rumors via her Instagram account, Tiwa Savage reckoned with a fan who said she has collaborated with more female artists. She has previously collaborated with other female artists such as Waji, Arya Star, Efia, Amari, and Becca. Nigerian singer Burna Boy and Rema, the best African music artists at the 2024 iHits Radio Music Awards in the United States. The 2024 iHits Radio Music Awards was hosted by rapper Ludacris, while Nigerian singer Rema's Calm Down featuring Selena Gomez won the Best Collaboration of the Year. American pop star Beyoncé received the iHeart Innovation Award, while Cher received the iHeart Icon Award. This is coming after Burna Boy had been on a winless streak at award shows, missing out on a 7 nomination at the 2023 BET Hip Hop Awards, 4 nominations at the 2024 Grammys, as well as 6 nominations at the 2024 NAACP Image Awards. On the other side of the Atlantic, he lost the Best International Artist of the Year at the 2024 Brit Awards. Afrobeat star David Adeleke, aka Davido, has denied he has never been arrested in East Africa while he was on tour on April 1st, 2024. However, reacting in a statement released via his X handle, Davido said, contrary to the reports, he wasn't arrested, stressing that he had a successful tour in Uganda and Kenya and has now returned to Nigeria, and he has never been arrested for any crime throughout his career. The singer vowed to take legal actions against the fabricators of the rumors and for generating the misinformation. And that's the global news for tonight. Before we go, another look at the major stories. Wike probes secondus others for supporting Fubara. Telecoms workers plan strike Thursday. Obi weeps over use of 10 trillion naira to service debt. Bassirou Faye is sworn in as Senegal president. Bendel Insurance prepares for Niger-Tornado clash. Singer